How's it going, guys? And welcome to RC Cincy. And today is going to be the extras segment. So I'm going to feature the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 11 comparison, and is it worth upgrading? It's not so much, a spec kind of video where it gives you every single little detail and numbers and spec. Most consumers don't know too much about the specs anyways, and is worried about how it performs, how it does with cameras, day-to-day life, battery life, more important things. So I'm just gonna kind of give you an overview of them and if it's worth upgrading. So this is the iPhone 8. We purchased it roughly, it'll be 2 years in November, so it's just shy of its 2-year-old birthday. This is my fiance's phone. Mine already sold. And it performed really well. The A12 Bionic chip is incredible. It would still load and do processes really well, so I'm not saying the chip itself isn't outdated, but the RAM was pretty good, being 3 gigabytes. This is only the 64, so it did okay, I think her sister was the only one that had space issues. The rest of us just had enough. The camera was good. That was one of the features at the time, was the camera was really good, so that's what we wanted. You had, obviously the home button. This was the last generation with the home button. I really liked the home button. Now that I'm getting used to the 11, it's not so bad, but at the time, this was last generation. This and the iPhone 10 came out at the same time, which was weird, but they came out at the same time. The 10 just didn't have the button. It had the same processor, same RAM, same everything. The only difference was the button, and then it got the AR official little emoji stuff and a couple small other features. But honestly, I really liked the 8. I liked the size at the time. It wasn't bad. It fit really well in your hand. The glass was supposed to be stronger than the previous generation, just like every other iPhone. Battery life wasn't that bad. It was pretty decent. I think the Plus had a better battery life, and the 10 obviously had a better battery life, I think. But not too much. But for what we're using it for, it had plenty of power, was able to shoot 4K 60 frames, which was incredible for videos. I actually, initially on my channel, I used the Sony that my fiance bought a while back, and smaller like GoPro, but mainly I used the iPhone. It was just easy to shoot with. I love the quality of the videos, and then I could also go ahead and edit in the phone. I didn't have to transfer the files, do all that fancy stuff. I wasn't that good with editing software on my computer, so it was a lot easier to use the iMovie on Apple. So honestly, if you're not like a really good editor, like iMovie is fairly simple to use. That's why I used it. So obviously in a box, just like other iPhone, you get the 5-watt charger, the charging wire, and then a set of headphones, and then you also get the adapter because this has the Lightning. It does no longer have the audio jack. So let's go ahead and open it up. That's not really an unboxing. I just want to get the phone out. So here's the phone itself. It still has a screen protector on there. Sorry about that. It still has a screen protector on it. That was the charger thing that fell out. It has a screen protector on there. She has a bunch of cases and everything. So the screen was fairly good on it. I don't think it was a 1080p screen. I know in the front wasn't as nice as a camera. It's not a 12 like it is in the back. I think it's like an 8 or something like that. 8 or a 5. Can't remember exactly. Did okay, but you cannot shoot premium video. Whenever you turned it this way to see yourself, it was much lesser quality compared to shooting, from the back camera. So that was kind of a downfall. A couple other features. I don't think it had Face ID. It does have the fingerprint reader. A couple other features. I mean, it's not a bad phone. If you're coming from like a 6 or something, even a 7, this outperformed it by a fairly large margin. The battery life was longer. I think this is a great phone. I'm not knocking it. It's just there's so many generations coming out, and honestly, the processor and the RAM and everything probably could have held up at least another year or two, for sure. Had no issues of it being slow, per se. But so that's the kind of a general overview. Not OLED, it's just an LCD Retina display. I'm trying to think what else. 64, I think you get it in 64, 128, 256. I'm not sure if it went to 5. I think it went on a generation On the iPhone 8, I think it went to 512, but I know you can get at least 256. It had lots of cases. I see cases everywhere discounted heavily. For instance, like the military so-called shop exorbitant drop proof cases or whatever, like these were like 50, 60 bucks. You know, for like 20 now. So there's a very, very large selection of cases, and I'll get into it why it's so important. But there's a large selection of cases. It's just incredible. Mind you, this video is being shot on the 11 as well, on my fiance's 11. So that's why it's probably gonna look so good. So that's the main overview, and then I'll kind of do a comparison. So the iPhone 11 came in quite a few colors. I always had like the space gray or some kind of color like that. I just wanted to do something different. My fiance suggested, why don't you get a new color? There's so many colors, and I chose to get the red. Of course, it does donate a portion of the proceeds to Project Red, which is helping folks, helping reduce and eliminate AIDS in a lot of the less fortunate countries. So plus, I love the color. Color looks really, really good. It's very vibrant. The glass is supposed to be much harder than the previous generation 10 and 10s Max and the 10s. And really, this is more focused to compete, to be a better step up from the 10R. The 10R was the budget-friendly phone that they released when they released the 10s and the 10s Max. You know, the 10s and the 10s Max was much more expensive than the iPhone 10R. So as the 11 Pro was much more expensive than this. So this is kind of like they're making the flagship, and then they slightly toned down, even though honestly this one is not that many differences between this and the Pro, which I'll get into that. So much tougher glass. Right off the bat, you get two lenses. You get a new, it protrudes. You get a new, I guess kind of like a camera square or whatever you want to call it. So on the Pro, this is glossy. See here, this is more like a matte finish right there, and then this is glossy. On the Pro, it's vice versa. This is matte and this is glossy. So it's kind of different. They changed that. This is aluminum frame on this. It is not stainless steel like the Pro, which you'll see the weight difference between the two, even though this phone is technically bigger. Now, this is, instead of being the, I think like 5'4" or 5'8", or 5'7", I'm sorry, it's the 6.1 inch Retina LCD. This is probably the best LCD you can get on the market, honestly. The pixel density is somewhere around 368 or something like that, in the 300s range, which is incredible. The resolution is, first number is like 11 something, and the second one's like 8 compared to, and now you can actually view I think you can view a 1080 video. Yes, you can view 1080 videos on this. On this one, you cannot. I think the most you can do is like 720. So you can actually see HD videos, plus the, you know, the vibrant colors. Everything is so much better on this LCD panel. Like I said, it's probably the best LCD panel on the market, to be honest with you. If you notice the phone, comparing it to the last gen 10R, it's the same size, looks very similar with this cutout right here, this black cutout, whatever you want to call it. Those are the same, the dimensions are the same. The only difference by just looking at it from the, you know, from without turning it on, is it has one extra camera. This has the typical camera, and then it's got a wide lens, and it's got a wide lens and a regular lens. It does have optical zoom. The camera itself is much more superior than the 8. The 10R is not as big of a jump, but you can tell the processor processes photos and does its thing much better. They refined a lot of software. You know, you got you can take night photos now. It lets you do portrait mode since it has 2 lenses on anything, which is incredible. It just has so many more features camera-wise than the 10R. The battery life is improved dramatically from the 8 and is better actually than the 10R. I think it's like 3,110 milliamp battery, which is significantly large. This one I think is only like 26 or 27, something like that. What else? And not only that, but you get incredible facial recognition software. It's been improved since the last generation. It has a 12 megapixel front-facing camera and can now record 4K up to 60 frames per second front-facing camera. That is the game changer, when you can hold your camera so you can see what you're filming and get the same quality as if you were filming from the back camera. That to me is a huge game changer for a YouTube creator. It is just nuts. And the glass is set to be stronger. I've watched people test this, and from a little bit higher than waist level, drop it on the front, back, and side, and no damage was done, but maybe a couple small minor marks on the aluminum. That's the first thing that's probably gonna start showing marks and stuff, is the aluminum. It's not as strong as this glass. This glass is much stronger than aluminum, I can tell you that right now. As you can see, I got a screen protector now. Mind you, you'll see a little bit of bubble here, a little bit of marking here where it's not sticking. I actually removed this. I initially bought the 64 and didn't realize how cheap it was just to get the 128. Buy the 128. If you're gonna go spend $699 on a phone, spend that extra $50 and get double the memory. I took mine back the next day when I found out what the price was I didn't think double the memory would only be $50, honestly. And it's the same price as the launch the 10R was $749, and you're paying $749 for 128 gigabytes, better battery, better camera, better everything, better chip, 1 more gigabyte of RAM. I mean, everything has been honestly improved. It's crazy, like, it's a great deal. So, going over the features, the camera, you have your face unlock, you can still do a pin. You know, the speakers are higher quality than previous generation. They're louder. They kind of play the same through each side, so it doesn't sound weird like one's quieter than the other. They're both very loud. The flash is much better. It's kind of like a mix between a white and a cream, kind of. Excuse me. The sensors are improved on it for facial recognition. You get more of angles. It's still not able to do flat on the table, which is a bummer, unless immediately you pick it up, and it does it so fast. You can see that. Let me lock it, look at it, unlocked. I mean, that is very, very fast, very smooth. iOS 13 is incredible. I just did a recent update. Videos play incredible. If you go to YouTube, you'll see that you can now watch 1080p videos. You know, obviously network permitting. I don't think this has 5G yet. They're gonna probably save that for the iPhone 12. It did not come with fast charging. I couldn't believe that. It still came with that small, cheap 5-watt charger that you get with the 8. So that was a bummer. I found the adapter with the wire, because it has to be C to Lightning, because they didn't make this a C, which I don't know why. Because I would have been able to use the fast charger on my tablet, and that one's a massive one. That one's at least 18 watts, maybe more, for the iPad Pro 11-inch. It runs on C. That would have been amazing. I would have been able to connect the two. Now I have to buy the C to Lightning port. So I found one fast charger. The best deal I found, that's a credible company, kind of decent, it's an Amazon choice. I think it's $22.99. So that's what you're gonna have to fork up. Obviously, if you buy the Pro, it comes with one included, which I think it should have came with this. That's the only thing. It does take a little while to charge because this is much bigger battery. They say something crazy like 17 hours of battery life. Obviously, if you're continuously watching videos, it's not that long. Supposedly, the difference between battery life, this and the Pro, is like 1 hour. But honestly, in real time doing stuff, I think you can get better battery life with this, because technically it's slightly bigger, I think. It's like 3,000 milliamps on the Pro, at least the small Pro, not the Pro Max. That's not, the Pro Max I think has a bigger battery like this, maybe slightly bigger, but the Pro itself can only fit such a big of a battery because it's technically smaller. It's like this comparison right here. The Pro is this size. The Pro is the size of the 8, but obviously this is all screen here, has a very, very small cutout up here still, and the screen goes all the way to the bottom. The bezel around the phone is smaller than the 11. You'll see this bezel is significantly larger. That's why these screen protectors do not go all the way to the edge. They only cover literally the screen. So that's how you line it up. You light it up and it shows you where your screen is, and that's what you want to cover. Make sure you don't cover any of your sensors or mics or anything up here. Sorry. And the colors are very vibrant. You know, missing the total telephoto, I'm terrible with some names that I butcher. Telephoto lens on the 3, on the Pro is the only difference. Mainly, to my eyes, it's supposedly one extra hour of battery life between the 11 and the Pro. Stainless steel instead of aluminum, and a third camera. The processor's the same, the RAM's the same. The memory options go higher on the Pro. And that's really it. It uses the same camera, software, same everything. Same front-facing camera, same sensory lenses, same Apple Unlock facial feature. A lot of the same. Like I said, there's 3 main standout things to me is supposedly the 1 extra hour battery life, stainless stainless steel frame, and the third telephobic lens. And what I kind of missed and I just remembered is the Pro has the OLED screen, which is higher resolution, higher pixel density. It does a very, very light flicker. They've improved it. Some folks will get a headache from like I think it was I don't know if it was the 10, I think it was either 10X Max or 10S, whichever one has the OLED, I think they both do. The OLED screen, the flicker has improved from previous generations. And some folks looking at it, it's a very, very, if you put it in slow motion on your camera and film the screen, it's like a very, very light flicker. And honestly, some folks were getting headaches from that. I haven't used it to know per se myself. It just depends on you, how you react to lights and stuff. But it's supposedly dramatically improved, and why you get the extra 1 hour, mainly 1 extra hour of battery life between the 11 and the Pro is mainly the OLED screen consumes less energy. Most of your power, believe it or not, is your screen. That's why it's so important to set it up properly. If you're liking to kind of see how you manage battery life and kind of check that out. Honestly, that's the main thing where you get that extra hour, is that OLED is much more efficient. And really, I've seen them side by side at Kenwood when I was purchasing this phone. I didn't see that great of a difference, maybe because I wasn't watching a video, but just looking at it and just taking a photo, it's not that dramatic to me. Maybe I don't have that keen eye for photos yet, but it wasn't that huge of a difference to me. And having the ultra wide, having the wide and not having the ultra wide telephobic lens isn't a deal breaker for me either. I'm fine with aluminum, it's a little bit lighter. The glass is just as strong in each one. The other one just has a matte flat finish on the back, which will help with smudges and fingerprints. This is glossy, so you're gonna see every single fingerprint. The matte finish will prevent that from basically happening. So that's another point there. But honestly, for the price, I don't see let's compare even with this one, the 128, which is $749 compared to $99, and it'll only be a 64 gigabyte phone. I just don't see the value in that. To me, maybe if you constantly shoot videos and you're gonna actually use the telephobic lens and you want a little bit stronger phone and just and a better screen so you can see your photo details and you're shooting photos all the time and videos, maybe then. But it's really a big difference for not, a big difference and not, to me, not getting the value, the price difference. So, what else to review on this? I think I don't know if I mentioned the size, it's 6.1 inches. Now, here's the thing I was telling you about the cases. So we went to Meijer, Walmart, and Target. One store had like 4 cases max. That is it. I know it's not that new. It came out in September. So it's had it's about a month later. And here we are. Not that many cases, not that many designs. Online, maybe a different story. Maybe then I just haven't come into the stores yet. But honestly, I purchased my case from the mall, Kenwood. When we purchased that, he had them already. I don't know if he got them from somewhere. So I got the clear, because I want to show off the beautiful color, with the red bumpers that are really, really strong and thick. And then I have obviously a 9H hardened H3 screen protector on there. So that's gonna help. I wanna get something different because I don't wanna beat this up, because once you start getting scratch marks and stuff on this, it'll just make the phone look bad. So this kind of be like my going out case, just in case I drop it. And then I ordered I forget the brand. It's similar to OtterBox, thicker, heavier duty, black case to protect the phone from drops and damage. I do construction, so my phones tend to get really dirty and beat up much faster than your typical phone. Real quickly, honestly, they're almost the same in weight. Just because, I don't know if this is aluminum or what kind of metal this is on the side. This almost feels heavier. Maybe because this is bigger and you can balance it. I don't know what it is, but honestly, the 8 almost feels heavier than the 11. Actually, I'm almost positive it's very slightly heavier, in my opinion. You still have, let me give you a couple side shots. You still have the same volume buttons, the solid on the side. Connectors are the same, different speakers, same connector. SIM card is still with the little thing. You push it in, it pops out, you slide it in. You still have your button. It's slightly larger. That's your screen lock. And then obviously the cameras are different. The thickness is the 11. Looks like the 11 is slightly thicker. Yeah, it's slightly, maybe like a millimeter or something like that. I don't have, like I said, this is not really specs. This is just to give you a general idea about the phone. You can find spec sheets everywhere. Everyone's doing a spec sheet. I didn't necessarily want to do that. I'm trying to give you the information the best I know to my knowledge. This is what I remembered on it. And then I bought the level 9. I like that, how it catches the faces. See that? That's amazing. It's just a really, really good quality video. Recognize his faces even on pictures. So honestly, I bought level 9 screen protectors, 3 for $9. You cannot go wrong. It includes a little frame thing you put on to make sure it's centered, just where it just puts it on the screen, gives you the wipes, the dusting thing, everything. 3 of them for $9. You can't beat that with a stick. That's just an incredible price. Oh yeah, they moved the logo down to the center. They did do that. That was one of the other little changes. No longer, I don't know what last generation it was. I think it was 6 that had like the numbers or something on the back. Or maybe it was an older generation, maybe 5 or 6. I can't remember. Or maybe even been the 4 a long time ago. You used to have like a serial number or some kind of number on the Apple ID on the back. They no longer have that. You have to either plug them in or have the box, or turn them on and look it up that way. It's been a while since that. And what I found cool about the boxes is it even shows the color on the side of the box. And then you'll see it'll say, 120. Oh, this is my old box. It says 64. This is my old box. So I took just the phone. They switched the phone, put it back in the 128 box. I didn't think about that. The person hopefully don't think it's a 128 phone because they'll feel kind of stupid. So make sure I checked this the other day, but I'll show you guys that it is a 128 real quick. So, not about iPhone storage. 128 gigabytes. So hopefully I checked that. I'm only using 17.5. So before I had a 64, and I typically with videos and everything on there, before I delete them or put them away somewhere else, I've only typically mainly reached like 40 or 50. So I am golden for a long period of time. This being a A13 Bionic chip, this 12 Bionic chip is still performing really well. It probably has at least another year or two before it really starts showing its age. I mean, really, that's really, really powerful chip. So this A13 should get us at least 3 or 4 years into the future, per se. Maybe in that time, the only thing, maybe the screen, to have high resolution games, they have to turn them down a little bit. This should be able to play. Now it also has the graphic performance is another big story between the iPhone 11 and the 10R. So the reason I keep comparing it to the 10R is the closest thing. It's a $50 difference. Well, with the 128, it's not a $50 difference, but the 64, it's a $50 difference. If you want to get to it, the 128 is probably the closest thing. Price range is exactly the same price. And honestly, the graphic performance is pretty significant. It's much more powerful. That extra RAM, let's say you just get out real quick out of a game or something, you can have more games and more stuff running and then get back to them without having the game or the app to reboot and kind of like restart it, relaunch it. So that's a big story there. That extra RAM really goes a long way in a phone. 4 gigabytes of RAM is great. Honestly, I was looking at a Razer 2 that was like, I don't know, 400, something about $400. And supposedly it had the 855 Snapdragon or 845 Snapdragon. Supposed to have 6 gigabytes of RAM. Supposed to be like mainly a gaming focused phone. But honestly, Android is not. And to me, I feel like Apple is ahead when it comes to. I know Apple wants to charge you a nickel and dime you for every app. Any good apps will cost you money. But I don't have to worry about getting a virus. It's very secure and encrypted. You steal it, it's worthless because you cannot remove the password or the facial ID. And then if you do try to remove the facial ID, you'll still have to know the password, and it's 6 digits. So there's probably slim to none chance of unlocking it. It's very secure, it's very safe. All your family photos and everything on there is safe. So really, Apple in general has done a really good job of protecting their customers' privacy and information. I know a while back, a few years back, there was that iCloud hack. I don't use iCloud, hence why I got more memory. I don't use iCloud. I think when I had the iPhone 8, and I had at the time I had 50 or 40 gigs or something, and it kept saying it was full. And the minute I disabled it, it went back down to 30 or 40 gigs. And then it was saying it was full. It won't let me install apps, nothing. So I don't know if that was a particular bug with my phone. It also happened to her sister as well. I don't know, if that was just a bug. You want up, buddy? So really, like I said, other than that, I really had no issues with the phone. I never had it crap out, or I broke my last one, so I had to use Apple Care. I used Apple Care for the first time. It was very easy. I went in there. They put me on a waiting list because there was a couple people ahead of me, waited to see the tech. They looked at it, they realized that they couldn't get the serial number because it was so smashed it wouldn't even turn on. They sent it out. I got an email the next day that they received it. A day or two later, it came in the mail. FedEx, signature required, done. It was in a smaller box. Didn't have the charger wires and all that, it was that kind of box, but it was a thin white box. It had the plastic, you had to peel off it. It was a brand new phone, and it cost me $105 with taxes. I think it was $99 plus tax. So honestly, it was a great deal. They didn't give me no issues. I don't know if anyone else has problems. I'm not speaking on everybody else's situation. But I got the new one, sold it, recovered some of my money on my iPhone 11. So that worked out really great for me. And you know, we have a yellow one, which is my fiance's, a red one, which is mine, and then that beautiful purple for her sister. That's another thing between the Pro and the 11. I think the 11 has the best colors. So you have yellow, a greenish blue, like a teal or turquoise or whatever you want to call it. The lavender purple kind of looking color. Red, yellow, lavender, green, white. I think it's like 5 or 6 colors, and then the Pro has like, and then you also get the kind of a grayish white, whatever. The Pro has like the space gray, a forest green, a weird like white, cream, silver, I don't know what it is. It only has less colors. They're not as bright and nice and different. Like they're kind of, I don't know if it's the matte black finish that makes them look weird. I don't know. I don't think the colors were as nice and as vibrant, should I say, as the 11 was. And, you know, I just didn't want to spend that big ticket item. It is still an expensive phone. I'm not saying this is cheap. It performs so well with it having the same processor and everything else. It might as well, to me, this is like their flagship phone, in my opinion. I know everybody's going to say, oh, well, it's the Pro, it's the Pro. Well, this is more of a... kind of like an everybody one fit kind of phone. Like it'll do most of everything for everyone, unless you're a professional photographer. Other than that, everyone else will use this phone and enjoy it and just won't regret purchasing it. I know you have to spend your hard-earned money on it. Honestly, I really couldn't find too many nitpicks. The bezel's a little big around the edges, that's about it. The battery life is great. I mean, I love it. And besides the bezel and that big black cutout up top here that takes like a decent sized amount of the screen, really besides that, and it being the same as like 2 or 3 generations, besides that, it's a great, amazing phone. I absolutely love it. So, in my opinion, if you have the 8, hands down, upgrade. If you have the 10R, I'd probably wait one more generation. Unless you want a better camera, more battery life, and you can still sell your 10R for a good price, and then maybe do it that way, but I wouldn't just go out and spend $749 on one when you have a perfectly good functioning 10R. That's just my opinion. Definitely if you're coming from a 7 or a 6, hands down do the 11. If you're a serious photographer and a YouTuber, you may consider the Pro, but just know that you're going to spend more money on it. You know, you're going to spend a lot more money on it, and especially if you need more memory, you're going to spend a lot more. I think it's like almost like $1,400 or $1,500 for the bigger number one. So I'm just letting you know, prepare to spend some money, or just get the $749, $128 and be done with it, in my opinion. But hey, so thanks for hanging out with me. Like I said, this is RC Cincy Extras, where I just feature cool products and kind of give you my honest opinion on them. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I know it's a little long, but I just want to kind of cover everything. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, hopefully you do that. And that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.